Hi, I'm a frickin' nutcase. I thought I'd do a little bit of a blog review of the Suzuki VStrom 650. That's the bike I bought last year, put 20,000 kilometers on her, drove her to the west coast and back, did a couple of long weekend trips, a couple of day trips. It was really a great bike. So if I'm praising it so much, why did I sell it? Well, it really came down to, while it being a jack of all trades and a great bike around town, it wasn't the best suited for long trips. It was geared, well, pretty short. And that short gearing meant at highway speeds, you were really working the engine hard in terms of speed. And I don't think that's the best for longevity. As well, when you push it hard on the highway, your fuel economy really kind of suffers. That was largely due, I guess, to the smaller engine working a little harder. And at that point, I found that it really wasn't the most suited highway bike. I find that for long trips, which seems to be where my heart really sits in motorcycling, that I need something a little bit more of a highway cruiser, back road cruiser as well. The VStrom was a great bike. It didn't have a whole lot of flaws. It was quite a bit on the top heavy, and if you're a shorter guy, it's a tall bike for sure. But it's a great bike. It's a good bike if you're a mature rider and just starting back out, and you want to get back into riding, or even if it is your first bike. The 650 has got enough power, but not crazy power, such that you're going to get yourself in trouble easily. It handles pretty well, brakes well. It's a bad corner. So yeah, I kind of miss the bike. I've debated buying a second bike, and a couple of times the VStrom is sort of bubbled back up into my mind as maybe being something I should consider as a second bike. At this point, I can't afford two bikes, but it's definitely something that interests me down the road. I sort of like its mix of ability to be a little better on gravel and rough roads than, say, a more touring-oriented bike like this Honda ST. That said, I wouldn't say it's a real dual sport bike. I call it more of a tall standard. I put road tires on it, Pilot Road 3s, and they were great for handling, both in the wet and in the dry. And they were a great choice of tire for that bike for touring. So I got rid of it primarily because it wasn't a touring-oriented bike, and that seems to be the type of riding that interests me most at this point. But if you're looking for one, there's a lot of fairly low mileage examples out there. Buy used, they hold their value pretty well if you don't trash it. Lots of aftermarket support, good, solid, reliable motor. Basic enough bike that you can work on it. You can do all your own maintenance without requiring any fancy tools. At least the basic maintenance. I didn't bust into doing the valves, but that's definitely something that looks like it would take a little bit more work just due to the access to the rear cylinder. This is just a little local road. I'm making my way back from an evening ride after work, and I thought I'd take you with me and sort of talk about the VStrom. So I had, I guess, what they call the adventure version. It was a 2009, had the Suzuki factory cases, side and top, and they were pretty good, although the top case was a bit of a challenge at times to say get into. It really was very much a two-handed job, so if you had your hands full, or even only one hand free, you really couldn't get into it that easily. So that was kind of a strike against it in that respect for livability. It was a tall bike, and I'm not a tall guy. I bought it used, and the previous owner had lowered it pretty substantially. And that made it really easy for me to relearn how to ride on, but it also proved to overly soften the suspension and proved to really be not the way to go for a heavier guy like myself. So all in all, VStrom's a great bike if you're looking at one. I'll throw the picture of mine up here on the beach in Vancouver. It is capable of long trips. You can do commuting on it, weekend trips. All in all, a great all-in bike you'll enjoy. Thanks. I'm a frickin' nutcase.